Okay, now we're going to do some phonics. I don't know why it's so dark. Hopefully you can still see me. So we're learning the long I spelled I-G-H and I-E. So as in the word fight, I-G-H has that long I sound. And in the word lied, I-E has the long I sound. In sight, you hear the long I sound, but the I-G-H gives it that long I sound. So let's go over some when we make the syllable breaks, because we're not going to break up the I-G-H or the I-E. So for fighter, right? What is fighter? We add the ER to fight, meaning somebody who fights. And let's clap it out. Fighter. Fighter. Sorry. Okay. And this highlight. We have two I-G-H. Highlight. What kind of word is highlight? Anyone know? Compound word. Very good. Let's clap it out. Highlight. Good. 2 syllables. 2 vowel sounds, 2 syllables. And frightful, we underline the I-G-H, gives it that long I sound. And full makes it full of fright. So let's clap it out. Frightful. Very good. Frightful. Okay, let's look at the I-E words. Dried. The past tense of dry. Okay, how many syllables do we hear? Dried, 1, right? We don't hear the ED. Fries, multiple for fry. Those nummy, yummy things you get at McDonald's or In-N-Out, right? So how many syllables? Fries, right? Just the 1. Replied is the past tense for reply. How many syllables do we hear? Replied. Very good. We hear 2 syllables. Replied. So those are the long I sounds, spelled I-G-H and I-E. So let's read our I Love Reading stories. We have Dwight's Kite. We'll read this together. And when we're done, after we're done with this, then you can highlight them. Dwight made a kite. Dwight painted his kite with bright colors. Then Dwight tied a string to his kite. He did not want his kite to fly away, so he tied a string tight. Dwight went outside. He felt a slight wind. Dwight thought it might be a nice time to fly his kite. The kite took flight. It flew high into the sky. Then Dwight had a fright. His kite string came loose. Dwight's kite flew far out of sight. I must not have tied the string on tight enough, thought Dwight. Then all of a sudden, Dwight caught sight of his bright kite. Dwight ran to get his kite. Dwight found his kite in a tree. It was not too high for Dwight to reach. Dwight tied the string back on his kite. This time he tied it very, very tight. This time I will tie it right, said Dwight. Then Dwight flew his kite again, and it did not fly out of sight. Okay, that's Dwight's kite. And let's look at dried apple pie. Jean and Grandma were in the kitchen. Grandma, you make the best apple pie. Would you help me make an apple pie for the pie contest? Asked Jean. Grandma was the best pie maker Jean knew. Jean and Grandma began using dried apples. They soaked the dried apples in apple cider to make them plump. Then they rolled out the pie crust. Jean tried to make it round. Making a pie crust was hard. Jean had to take her time. When the dried apples were plump enough, Jean dished them into the pie crust. Jean and Grandma put the pie in to bake. Jean kept her eye on the dried apple pie as it cooked. She did not want burnt apple pie. That afternoon, Jean and Grandma took the pie to the pie contest. There were lots of different pies at the pie contest. There was a peach pie, a pumpkin pie, a cream pie, and a cherry pie. The pie judge ate a slice of each pie. Then the pie judge gave out the pie prizes. Jean's dried apple pie tied for first place. All right. So that is dried apple pie. Then you're going to complete page 177 in your practice book, this page. And it says, write each word from the box under a word that rhymes and that spells the long I sound the same way. So it needs to rhyme and spell the long I sound the same way. So all of the words that rhyme with night, so it's going to have the ending sound ite the same, and it's going to be spelled I-G-H. And all of the words spelled with high, that rhyme with high, and all of the words that rhyme with tie. So that's phonics. So remember, read and highlight. Don't forget to write that in your reading logs. And then do page 177. And we're also going to do page 141 and 142 for grammar. We're continuing with the verbs is and are. Okay. So for 141, you are going to change these sentences from present to past. Okay. We'll do the first couple ones together. So number one says, Grandma is in her chair. We're going to change that to the past. So we're going to use either was or were. Would we use was or were with Grandma? Grandma's one person. So would we use was or would we use were? Grandma was in her chair. Grandma were in her chair. Was sounds a lot better, right? So then you're going to rewrite the sentence. Make sure you rewrite the sentence and not just the word. Grandma was in her chair, and don't forget the period and to capitalize. Some of you aren't capitalizing your sentences. Then you're going to, for 4, you'll do 2 and 3 on your own, and then 4, 5, and 6, you're going to change these sentences from past to present. So the dogs were in the kitchen, so we're going to change these to is or are. So the dogs, that's more than one dog, would we use is or are? The dogs is in the kitchen, the dogs are in the kitchen. Very good. Are would work because that's what we use when it is plural, more than one. The dogs are in the kitchen. Don't forget to capitalize and use punctuation at the end. Then let's look at 142. Okay, 142 right here. Says, read the biography, circle the verbs that are used incorrectly, and write the correct verbs below. So let's read it together. My grandmother are an amazing person. Anything sound wrong in there? Yeah, it's only one grandmother, so we wouldn't use are. So probably need to circle are. She is a nurse when she was young. Well, no, it would be in the past, right? She was. She were working in a hospital in India. Again, one person, so we're not using were. That's for more than one person. There is many patients who liked her. There's more than one patient that liked her, so we would use is or are. Very good. So we need to circle that is. Some of them still write to her today. I think they was lucky to meet her. Was is used with one person. Very good. So we would switch it to what we would use for more than one person. Okay, so that's grammar. And I'll be back with some religion.